Okay, so again, I'm welcoming everyone in the session who joined us just now. And this is RISHABH who is going to be your speaker in this particular session itself. So, guys, today through the InfosecTrain, we have conducted this webinar so that you can get a bit of the idea in very specific cloud security, the different domain. I know in a very small 1 hour of webinar, it's very hard to go ahead and discuss everything regarding the cloud security, but just a quick overview we will try to give over here, and we will discuss a few topics which will be relatable to our own cloud security practitioner codes. So we will be discussing about these factors. So just to give you a bit of a brief about myself Rishabh Putyal, and I am going to be the speaker in this course. Usually I have more than 8 years, I would say around 9 years of experience in the cloud security and security in general. Without any further ado, we'll be discussing our agenda for the day. So our agenda for the day is going to be the cloud security, then cloud storage option, just an overview, and then simply the handling incident in cloud. Means I'll be talking about some of the frameworks that is going to be in the cloud security. So let's just go ahead and let's just start with your cloud and cloud security. Okay, first of all, cloud, right? So everyone will be thinking, like, everyone has their own opinion, and in simple terms, I always said in my one-liner definition, which I think a slide will be coming in this one, I always said cloud is something that is your on-demand IT resources. And simply to everyone, I always try to say that, okay, whatever you were doing in your on-premise, the same kind of thing you are doing now in the cloud. The platform, the owner, the way of consuming the service might be different, but in the end, core points are going to be in there. So as I was telling you that in this webinar, we are going to discuss the cloud security. So as we continue to move our businesses and daily operation to the cloud, the need for strong security measure, they become increasingly important. And we'll be talking about the cloud security, why it is and why it matter. And we will discuss the different type of cloud security threats, all in short, what are the threats that is posed to the cloud computing and security best practices to the organization that should follow. So all of these will be like, just simply 2 or 3 points, just to give you the idea that what actually goes into the cloud, and you might be finding it familiar that you are implementing in your cloud itself. So what is cloud security? If I have to define it, I can say that cloud security is set of policies and practices that are designed to protect your sensitive data and application stored in the cloud. Okay, stored in the cloud environment. And the primary goal of your cloud security is to make sure that the only authorized user can access the data that is stored in cloud. Now, if you have seen, the latest trend, many of your organization, I'm pretty much sure if you guys are using the Google Drive, OneDrive, you guys are using maybe any other storage solution as well. Okay, so in all of those, what is happening? Those are your cloud-based solution, right? Cloud-based storages. Now your data is there, and many times what happen, knowingly, unknowingly, like many of the, I'm pretty much sure in Dropbox, like your services, many of you will be having the what particularly which edit. Many of you will be having a particular account over there, which what we call it the your personal account, right? Not the corporate one. So many of you unknowingly shared some private information over there. What we call the your PII, personally identifiable information, is over there. So if you are not very careful enough over there, that kind of data could be leaked. And when I'm taking the name of the something like OneDrive, Google Drive, what kind of service we call it? If you are talking about the cloud, there are three service model of the cloud: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So what kind of services are your Google Drive, okay, OneDrive, okay, your Dropbox? What kind of services you will be considering to them? Okay, in these three of models which we are talking about. What are these? Either they are IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service, PaaS, platform as a service, or whether it is your software as a service. This is software as a service. Okay. So there are three kind of, when we say the three main type of cloud. So we have to think we have to think about the cloud security from these perspective, that there is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay. So when we have these kind of a thing, okay, when we have these three services, when I'm talking about your infrastructure as a service, what it means? It simply means that you are going to your cloud service provider and you are just simply, asking it to give you the basic infrastructure such as servers, network, storage, okay, for your organization. And on top of that, you will be building your own services. Like I will go and request, I give me 7 CPU core, 8 CPU core, give me 32 gigs of RAM, give me this particular operating system, and I will start working on top of that. That is going to be simply the infrastructure as a service. Then there is going to be the platform as a service, which will be like, let's say you are a developer and you think, okay, and because you are just asking for virtual CPU, give me this operating system, give me these things. On top of that, you are building your application. That means all the runtime, operating system, its maintenance is your responsibility. You are going to be responsible for that. So when you are responsible for such kind of a thing, that you have to be responsible for the your in updating the runtime, updating the infrastructure, okay, uh, and okay. So as I was explaining, if I am a developer, I don't need to go ahead and I don't need to maintain those underlying operating system runtime. My task is develop my code, publish it. So I will be requiring some platform as a services. Like in Azure, we have the web application. There you will be selecting that my runtime is like Python or this thing. You will be going there and you are the developer. So you don't want to go ahead and maintain the underlying operating system, update it, maintaining it, or if you have installed IIS server, Nginx, you don't want to maintain the runtime environment like .NET or anything. What you just want, type your code, publish it on the cloud. Simple as that. You just want to maintain the application. That's it. That will be the PaaS. Okay, that is going to be the PaaS solution, platform as a service. Their cloud service provider will be going ahead and going to work over your particular scenario at that particular point. SaaS will be like you don't want to do anything. You don't even want to develop your application. So in PaaS, you are focusing on your platform applications. You are focusing on your you are just there and you are just focusing on different things. Like you focus on the when we're talking about platform as a service, you focus on the code that you are writing, right? That's it. In SaaS, I don't want to write a code as well. So I'm directly using Google Drive, Calendar app, your Dropbox, nothing to worry about. So everything will be handled by cloud service provider. They are even updating the code and everything. So these are the three basic difference. Okay, right? So these things are your SaaS, like Office 365 and everything. Now, in cloud security, you have to think, like I was telling you, in infrastructure as a security, my task is to maintain everything, operating system, runtime, and everything. So security of each of these parts, just like in your on-premise, you are running the vulnerability assessment and everything. That is your responsibility. In PaaS, if there is a bug in my code, if there is some implementation issues, like I am storing data on the storage account, and or some SQL database, weak code, weak encryption, these kind of things I have to take care of. While in SaaS, most of the things will be relying with the cloud service provider, and you are going to be worried about what? You are going to think, okay, how I'm going to go ahead and maintain IAM part, to whom I should be giving the access, to whom I should not be giving the access, right? Now, which one you have to select? Everyone will be thinking that which one will be good. Now, depending on your organization, your project need, you have to think about the which cloud security solution you should be going for. So when you will be going through the whole documentation, what is your your requirement as a client, what cloud service provider is providing you in these three services, and depending on different governance risk compliances, you'll be taking your decision that which model is suitable for you over here. So in past, what will happen, just one more time thing, that updating those underlying operating system runtime will be the responsibility of cloud security cloud service provider. Okay, that is going to be in there. Now let's just move to the next thing, that what is the importance of the your cloud security. So cloud security is important because, first of all, as I was telling you at the very beginning, nowadays you are storing your data onto the cloud. So first thing is, it helps to protect your data from any unauthorized access or even malicious activity. Apart from that, it also helps to make sure your data is secure and compliant with data privacy regulation. So when you will be deep diving into the clouds, you'll be finding there are ways to implement different policies. Even because I work mostly with the Azure, there I'm pretty much familiar that we have the very specific service running with the name policy, which help us to check our infrastructure against these kind of a thing. That there is going to be the your particular there is going to be the particular posture management kind of a thing, posture assessment, that if you have created something, whether it is compliant to PCI DSS, whether it is compliant to your GDPR, where you are lacking your data laws. Even in SQL database, you can go and classify the data. There is option of classifications. These kind of services will be provided to you to check whether or not and how much you are compliant itself, right? That is going to be the your cloud security. Cloud service providers, different tools in different type of cloud service platforms, right? They will allow you to work with these implementation of policies, checking whether or not it is going to be your on par, right? These things are there. Okay, right. Now when we talk about these things, unfortunately, cloud computing, they also pose a set of unique cloud, unique security threat as well. And when I'm going to talk about these threats, you must have heard about them somewhere, like data leakage. Just two, three, like I was saying, in this session webinar, we are just simply talking about two, three simplest thing that is possible. Like I'm talking about data leakage, very common, malicious insider, APTs. Now, all these things are possible in the your cloud environment as well. Now, think about this. These things. When we talk about these three scenarios, these are totally possible over there, right? Now, data leakage, it happen when any sensitive data is leaked or stolen from your cloud. So if someone got the access of your cloud, like username, password, or it is the in any leakage, like someone dumped the username password set or some list is there, someone can steal the data over there. Okay, and again okay, right, that is one thing. Second, that is going to be when we are talking about the your malicious insider. So malicious insider, when we are talking about the malicious insider, so one is the insider threat in common security. Person who is working for you, who already has the some username and password of yours, they can go ahead and they can try to leak the data, or let's say they take out greedy and they start selling your data. That is always going to be the case with the your malicious insider. So malicious insider are the employees or other user with the access to the cloud who use it for malicious purpose. And then there is the advanced persistent threats, which are very sophisticated cyber attack designed to gain access of your sensitive data and application over there, right? Now, again, as I was telling you, just a bit of an overview that what could be some of the best security your practices. So to protect your data, application, and user from these threats that we were discussing, those were just simply a sample, right? So what we can use, okay, so what kind of the when we talk about this, Mm. Protecting your data application and user from these threats. So the organization, they should implement the some of your best security practices that is out there. First one is establish clear security policies and procedure, just like you do it in your organization over there. Okay. So then when we are talking about this whole thing, okay, now when we are talking about the your set of unique security threats, okay, in this one, sorry, we were talking about malicious insider, your advanced persistent threat, and data leakage, these kind of things. Now, these things, you are applying some best practices over there, clear security policies, procedure, that how anyone should react on daily basis, like how you can send the data, attach the mails and everything, which data can be sent, which data cannot be sent, giving someone the clear permission, right? Those kind of things. So security policies and procedures should be in place. Second, all the sensitive data should be encrypted, and you should be using the access control mechanism so that you can limit the access to only those who are with the proper authorization, right? Authorization means, if let's say one day you go to the office, you tap in your ID card, you are now entered in the office. Now you enter in the office, so unless let's say you are a CEO, right? You can't just simply go and barge in into the CEO office, sit in the chair and start giving everyone the order that you do this, you do that. No, right? So we have to apply access control properly so that we can limit the access of our data to the people who have the proper authorization. Then we can monitor and audit cloud activity to detect and respond to any unauthorized suspicious activity. And cloud service provider, they have the different services. Like if you have heard about the cloud watch, okay, we have the inspector. Amazon has the inspector, cloud watch. In Azure we have the log analytic workspace, sentinel, these kind of things. For monitor purpose, logging and monitoring purpose, you can audit the cloud activity, what is happening, who is doing what, and you can respond to the any unauthorized or suspicious activity. Okay. Next is, fourth point will be training your employees and other user on cloud security best practices, that what are the best practices that is out there. Then fifth point, regularly test the your security of your cloud environment. So you can have some cloud security posture assessment, which can run the test daily, that if there is any loopholes in your infrastructure, you can go ahead. And by following these, like five simple best practices, organization, they can make sure that their data and application are safe and secure in the cloud. Okay, and this first point where we were talking about the cloud security, in conclusion, cloud security is an important component of any cloud computing strategy, and it helps to protect sensitive data and application from any unauthorized access or malicious activity. Okay. So organization, they need to implement these cloud security best practices to make sure safety and security of their data and application in the cloud. Okay, so this is the very first part that what we have looked into till now. Now, second thing in this one is going to be what? So we have talked about already some best practices. Now we will be jumping into the storage. And now if you have to think about the storage in your physical machines, physical devices, you already have a lot of the your all these virtualized storage and everything over there. Okay, so cloud is what? Cloud is just, as I always said, it is just the virtualization of your particular on-premise technology. And if you will be seeing the definition of either by Citrix or by IBM, you will be finding that they always define this, that virtualization, what it do, it uses software. Okay, and then that software create an abstraction layer over computer hardware that allow the hardware element in a single computer like processor, memory, storage, and more to be divided into the multiple virtual computer, commonly called a virtual machine. So if I have to try to draw a diagram according to this whole thing, so what is going to be in there? So it will be talking about this like this. So there was a physical machine, okay, which is having the hardware, like it is going to have processor, memory, storage, and everything. Now you install some software in there. Now that software is allowing it to divide the same processor, software, network, and everything that is in there into the small operating systems like this. Okay, so it is going to be divide me the things like this or always. Okay, like this. All right, so this is something that it wants. Okay, so this is what it is going to do and behave. So this virtualization, when I'm giving this point, why I'm giving you this point is, reason is that we are going to talk about these storages, right? There is a Citrix definition as well. Some if you guys want to see this through, this is the same thing. Okay, they are talking the same thing as well. So when we are talking about this IBM definition, so what IBM's definition is allowing us to do is, IBM is saying that if you have some storage, right, like a disk in your system, it can also be virtualized over to the your cloud as well. And before we move further over into the virtualization and storage virtualization, I just want to give you a quick overview. Like, there are two type of hypervisor. First is going to be the your type 1, where you have a hardware, on top of that directly a hypervisor. Hypervisor is what? The software which you were talking in this definition, right? The virtualization uses a software, and that software is called hypervisor. Okay, so when on top of hardware you are directly running the hypervisor, and that machine is divided into the apps like this. This is a VM1 for example, this is VM2 for example, it is running on top of it. This is called type 1 hypervisor. Type 2 is like you are having hardware, like for example you are having your Windows 10, on top of that you are having the VMware. Okay, just an example I am giving you. Oh, sorry, my bad. It is all link. So here again, so this is a hardware. On top of that you are running the Windows 10. On top of that you are having something like VMware or VirtualBox kind of a thing, okay, which is acting as a hypervisor, the software which is doing the virtualization. And then inside them, if you have run these tools like VMware, VirtualBox, okay, I'm having multiple virtual machine. Like in this machine I am running Kali Linux. In this one I am running some Ubuntu server, right? So within a one machine, I have created the multiple virtualization. So this is going to be the type 1 and type 2 kind of the virtualization that is there. Okay. Now, as I was telling you, with the help of the virtualization, what we have done, we have enabled the cloud computing. So cloud computing is, as I was saying, on-demand delivery of different IT resources. So you want computing power? Go ahead, create a virtual machine, skill sets, your EC2 machines. You want a virtual network, create a VNet, VPN, start doing the VNet peering, different services over there. And then storage services, like which we'll be talking about, your S3 buckets, if you have heard. If you have talked about the, apart from the S3 bucket, if you have heard of like the SQL databases, you have heard something like Azure has the Azure storage account, right? So if those kind of things you are working with, you're welcome, right? So these things are going to be in there that you have to think about. And then even analytics service, like today, cloud computing, cloud service provider, they're giving you AI, machine learning services, a SIM solution, security solution, and number of things that is available to you, right? So this is going to be the your simply cloud computing means, if I want, so, you can create 10 virtual machine, a virtual network, a VPN. I can deploy IoT services, IT services, AI, machine learning environment, and I can have multiple storage account to store my data. So whatever you want, quickly you can deploy that in the cloud. Now we will be coming into the storage virtualization, that what it is and how it is going to be over here. So when we talk about the storage virtualization, there are two type of storage. One is going to be the object, another is the volume. So these storage type are primary type of storage provided to your cloud environment itself. Now we will be talking about the object storages, right? Now what is going to be the object storage over here? So a very simple, if I have to give the few examples of the object is going to be something like your S3, okay, your Azure storage accounts, blob storage. These things are objects. So what is happening with the object storage? You can store the files as the objects. Okay, when we talk about the objects, it could be a large file. Okay, like you can upload. I simply explain the objects like any kind of file. If I want to upload a YAML file, a YouTube video in MP3, MP4, you can upload it. It's just up to you what kind of file you want to upload, right? So it could be, the files, it could be PDF, MP3, MP4, videos, 3GP, and number of things, JPG, PNG, GIF, anything that you want. Okay, now what you will have, you will be having a metadata associated with it, like it will be explaining what its content time, when this data was created, any redundancy information that I have 2 copy of this data or 3 copy of this data, that will be defined there, and this is going to be called your files or object. Now accessibility is provided by the means of your API and through the web interfaces. So, and one more comparison that I always do, if you have heard my other webinars as well, I always say that object storage is like, your YouTube video. Okay, why I always say that through the web interface you can access them. So each of the object will get a unique URL. Like if you open a YouTube, open each video, there is going to be a unique link. So it is similar to that. So there is going to access any kind of the object, you will be having a URL associated with it. Okay, so you can access it via the API through the web interfaces itself. And typically it is used for the large capacity, right? So it can have a lot of data and information itself, like a whole video. Okay, and these things sometimes they are called blob. They are inordinate amount of large information. Blob means binary large object. Okay, so if you are taking the snapshot or copy of any virtual machine or instance of the data, okay, that is associated with the instance and it is kept as the object. So that image that you have created, a snapshot that you have taken, that is going to be stored as the object storage over there. And when we are talking about the some of the examples over there, there is AWS S3 bucket, Rackspace Cloud Files, Microsoft Azure Blob, Google Cloud Storage Bucket, and IBM Cloud Object Storage. These are the some examples of the your object storage over here. Look like I made a mistake, and that mistake is it's not the object, it should be the volume storage. Okay, so this is going to be the volume storage. And if I will start with some example, that is going to be the OpenStack Cinder, Rackspace RAID, Amazon's EBS Elastic Block Storage, VMware VMFS, and Google's persistent list. Okay, right? So these things are going to be in there, and these things are going to be called your volume storage. And volume, if you have to understand this, okay, if you have to understand this whole thing, what you have to do is think your laptop, there is a disk, right? Similarly, when you create, right, so when we are talking about the your lappy and your disk, so that disk, the virtualization of that memory, that is going to be in the cloud, that is the volume storage. Is like you can see it is going to be attached to the virtual machine itself. Okay, and they are typically attached to the your virtual machine in guest operating system. So when you are storing the you are going through the configuring option to launch a virtual machine, you can take the default volume size or you can request to increase that size, and you can also attach additional volumes. Like in your lappy, you add 1 disk, 2 disk, 3 disk. Similar to that, you can add more and more disks over there. Okay, you can increase the size of it, you can attach some additional volumes, and virtual machine later on, whatever you like, right? So just like it, you can go ahead and just like a physical storage, if you want to increase this, 2 or 3 disks, you can do that. Okay, then there is going to be the your volume storages, which is usually associated with the block storage. So it is expressed in the blocks, and blocks are what, if you are familiar with the basic I computing technology. So that is, blocks are equally fixed unit of physical disk that is going to store your data. And then there is going to be the volume storages. So if you remember, there is something like LUN, which is standing for logical unit number. So whenever you are adding additional disks, you maintain their LUNs as well. And similarly, you have to do, this is the concept that you pick from the your real world, or you can say the on premises, and apply it in the cloud, that you have to define LUN here as well. Okay, right? So these things are going to be in there itself. So these are the different your storage type that is there. And now we will simply discuss the your incident response frameworks in the cloud. So when we are talking about the incident response framework, one thing that we all need to understand, that we don't need to go there, and we don't need to you know start with something from the very basic, that we need to go ahead and deploy the whole new infrastructure over there, or new incident response framework over there to go ahead and work with the your cloud, right? Why? Because already in there, what we have done is we have some industries best your standards out there, right? And when we are talking about these industries best your things, so there are these three which is important. You don't need to go or do something new. Already we have something, much better things available already in there. So what we have to do, we have to go there, and we will be taking these your whole scenario. So we will be taking the look into these incident response framework. So there are plenty that you can choose from, and we are just talking about the three over here. And these are the some intriguing ones that is going to be there. Like, I have taken the few simple points over there, which I use in my classes as well, in cloud security practitioner itself. That first one is going to be the ENISA's your uh, risk incident response. So in simple terms, what there happen is, so ENISA's incident response plus is concerned with the immediate aftermath of incident, and its primary concern with keeping people safe, right? So it will be keeping the, okay, these kind of a things that is going to be in there, like it will be concerned with the people's safety first. Then it will be talking about the team makeup, which will be like the structure of the team, incident response team, how it should be. Yeah, so it would be considering the what is the incident response team, who will be the part, what will be their roles, okay, what they should be doing. And then there should be the response plan procedure, that how you will be responding to different things. Okay, and it is not going to be related to IT only, it could be related to the physical safety of the peoples as well, right? So this is going to talk about all these kind of things over here at once kind of a scenario, right? Then what is going to be the plans, what is going to be its procedure. And then sometime you might have to work with the external services. So how you're gonna go there and work with the external services, like law and something level fire and all these kind of the safety, people safety and everything. So some of the point from the ENISA's incident response are here. Same, if you'll be going with the information security incident management, which is ISO IEC 27035 over here. So it has the, again, some 5 stages, just like the any other plan, plan for everything, who will be the part, call list, and all these kind of things. Then detect where this incident it originated from, when, how, is it a true positive or not, or is it a false positive. Then make sure that there is the assessment going on, vulnerability assessment, pen testing, these kind of a thing. Then there should be a response to that, that if you find the threat, after the threat you should be responding to that, that how you are going to handle that thing, remove it and everything. And then there is going to be the lesson, that what you have learned from this particular incident. and how we can improve in future. And then same goes for the very common and very popular one is the NIST SP 861. Like many of the courses that I have taken, this thing is kind of the center of everything. Like it will be talking about the usually it is saying 4 phases, but different vendors they extend it kind of thing. Like they start with the preparation, that the team your call list, jump back, preparing everything, giving everyone their roles and everything. Then go with the detection and analysis. First detect it, then first responder is going on, they are going to talk about that whether it is true positive, false positive. Yes, if it is kind of verified, then you start to analyze from where it started, what is involved, what kind of things is going to be infected, who need to be called, and everything. You'll analyze that situation. Then you will start with the process of containing it first. That if it is a malware, we'll be making sure that it does not go ahead and spread anywhere. Then try to eradicate this thing, right? If this is a malware, try to remove it. And if it has infected, like it is a ransomware, it has encrypted your data and everything, then try to go ahead and recover it. So these things are going to be in there, right? And many vendors they have divided it like preparation, then second is detection and analysis, then they define like containment, eradication, and recovery as 3 different parts. And then there goes your post incident activities, which you can simply say like a post mortem over here, that what we have learned from this disaster. You learn everything from everything, disaster or anything. So how we can do better in future, how we can do better in future itself, in terms of to protect ourselves, to go ahead and uh, you know uh, what we have learned. If we find anything new over there, let's say that this malware was something that is not kind of seen anywhere, or no threat intelligence is warning about it. There is something new, like your, what I would say, uh, new threat intelligence, right? Or some new of your file hashes or signature that isn't there. So these kind of things are over there, that yes, we are now worried about these kind of a things, that we have to go ahead and to warn everyone that okay, see, this kind of things are going to be in this particular, you know this is a kind of a particular threat that we are worried about, and we are going to share it with the everyone, finding out something new that is there. So all these things will be the part. You learn something new from the new threat, you'll be preparing yourself. And if let's say you prepare a plan that a worm should be handled like this, right? You are having a pre-plan that do this, you are having a run book, that what to do, after this playbook you were having, it did not work properly. So what changes need to be made in that particular workbook, playbook, that will be the post-mortem step, and it is very important step to grow yourself. Okay, now these are the few simple things that is there and what we have discussed in this particular webinar. Now, this webinar, as I was telling you, is the part of our cloud security practitioner training course. So if you have visited our website, you can go to the course, you can go to the cloud, and in there you'll be finding, our in-house cloud security practitioner course, which is beneficial for those people who just starting their career in the cloud security. They have a bit of a knowledge on the security and they want to start something fresh for the cloud. So going from the basic to the your cloud security, and it will be very helpful if you are preparing for some other exams like CCSK, CCSP, CCAK, and you want to make your base strong. So this is something that is already there. So if you guys are interested, you can visit our website. We are going to discuss a lot of things over here, and we'll be preparing for this. Thanks everyone to go ahead and join our session over here. If you want to connect with us, you can connect us on these numbers, or you can connect with me over the LinkedIn on this particular, use my name. We have InfosecTrain LinkedIn account as well. Okay, we have our sales teams chat box on our website. Everything will be there which will be helping you out, right? Use these numbers, these contact detail, get in touch with us, keep learning something new every day, right? Try to at least learn one or two things, every day. I always suggest this thing. I am following the same practice, so that is going to help everyone out. Thank you so much for joining. If you guys are going to go ahead and check out our website for the upcoming batches of cloud security practitioner, you can go ahead, ask the team, contact us, and we will help you through. So keep learning, and keep doing this thing. Thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be healthy, keep learning. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.